Okay, so this is 7th grade 4-7. 4-6 was adding expressions. Now all we're doing is subtracting expressions. There's a particular step that you can do with a lot of them, if not all of them, that'll make it identical to the one we just did. And I'm just going to give you an example right here. Actually, there's several examples, and I'm not going to go over them in great detail, or really not going to go over them much at all. But let's just look at example 3 here on page 241, and this is what I want you to understand. Now, when we talk about adding and subtracting integers, this is something I've explained to you guys. So if I had, let's say, 5 minus and you change the sign of the number that follows. It was a -2, now it's a 2. And so if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. So if we're subtracting a negative number, it's kind of like doing the opposite, which is exactly what we did. 5 subtracting -2 is 7. 5 adding 2 is 7. All right? So if I wrote something like 3 subtracting, and then I put it in parentheses, a -12, it would be the same as 3 adding 12, which would be 15. So just keep that in mind. When we're subtracting expressions, you're going to change the sign of the number that follows. Now, these were pretty simple. Some of them might be a little more complicated in the sense that, let's say I had 12 subtracting, and then in parentheses, a -3 plus 5 minus 2. Now, of course, they're going to have variables in there. Some of these might be decimals. Some of them might be fractions. But the same rule applies to everything that's in the parentheses. So it's 12. Now I'm adding. And I can leave the parentheses there for the moment, but I'm going to change the sign of everything in the parentheses. It was a -3, so now it just becomes 3. It was plus 5, now it's minus 5. It was a -2, now it's plus 2.
You're right.
What's that?
I said you're right.
Oh.
I get it.
So I'm just changing the sign of everything in there. So now it's 12 plus 3 minus 5 plus 2.
Which is the same thing we did last lesson.
Okay, yep, which is the same thing. Thank you for pointing that out. And that's something I mentioned a few minutes ago, that once you do that, it becomes identical to the problems you were doing in the very last lesson. So look what they did here in this example 3. Here was the original problem, 5j minus 2q plus 2/5, subtracting, and then they have 4 minus 3j minus 1/2 q. Well, what did they do? This all stays the same, but they changed it from subtraction to addition. Then they changed the sign of everything that followed in those parentheses. And now it's just like the kind of problems you were doing in the last lesson. Okay? All right, so try it. Bottom of page 240. Fill that out for you. First box, 21. And then in parentheses, x plus 6 minus, it's 15x. And the area of the frame, 6x plus 126. And then they've got outside of that inches squared. Okay. Example 2, if it's gone too fast for you, you can just rewatch the video. I'm not going to go over example 2. but it's pretty much what I've been talking about. But I'm going to do the try it with you guys. So let's look at the try it. Subtracting 0.95x minus 0.04, and then subtracting 0.99x, subtracting 0.13. So this is going to stay the same. So I'm just going to write 0.95x subtracting 0.04, and then I'm going to change this to addition. So I'll put a plus sign, and I'll put up the parentheses so we're not confused there. So this was subtracting a 0.99x. Now this is going to become So now I'm just looking for some like terms to deal with. Here I have a 0.95x subtracting a 0.99x. So I just want to find the difference between the two. So I'll put a 0.99
Favorite student speaking.
x, and I'm going to subtract 0.95. Okay.
Definitely.
Who's going?
Me.
Okay. Good riddance. Get out of here.
Wow.
All right.
I think I was the best one to leave.
So, so again, the reason why I'm subtracting the 0.95 is because I'm just looking for the difference between the two. All right. And so that's going to become 0.04x. So 0.04x.
But it would be negative.
Okay, it would be a negative. All right, so those are done. We're done dealing with those. So I can just put that down here, 0.04x. Okay, and now I've got a negative 0.04 and a positive 0.13. So I can just go 0.13 right here, and I'm going to subtract a 0.04. What's that going to be?
0.9.
Point what?
9.
Yeah. It becomes 0, 13, 9. So 0.09, and that's a positive. So adding 0.09, there's no variable with that. So that's the answer to this try it right there. Yes.
For the 0.95 and the 0.99, wouldn't they both be negatives?
Well, this is positive right here, and I haven't done anything with that. So that's a 0.95x.
When you change the things inside of the parentheses, wouldn't you change that to a negative?
No,
Only the one that follows this. So from this point on, I'm going to be changing the signs. So this becomes positive, and then I'm going to change the sign of everything in the parentheses here. Okay? This first part doesn't change. All right?
And then same thing with the try it.
So let's look at the try it down below. I want you guys to do that one, so circle that one. I'm going to run out of time here because the day is almost over. I'm not worried about 1, 2, and 3 on page 242. Put a line through those. I did want to do the first, there's 4. I circled A, B, C, and D. Let's look at the first one here. Okay. So I'm just going to rewrite it here as 21x. I'm going to change it to addition. And now I'm going to change the signs of the number that follow. So that becomes just 16. And that becomes a minus 7x. All right, now I'm going to look for my like terms. Here I have a 21x minus 7x. What's that? 14x. And I can't do anything else. 14x plus
16.
16. There's your answer. 14x plus 16. Okay. Number 5 here. So I gave you the original cost. It says write an expression for the original cost. Original cost is 5p plus 1.49. And the updated cost is what I want you to do. I'm not worried about and the difference. So the updated cost, or what it would be now. Now and updated is the same thing. Number 6, do that one. And then on page 243, 7 and 8, I circled both of those. 9, I circled both of those. 10, 11, 12, and 13, I circled those. And 14 down at the bottom of the page. $244, I circled 15. Scratch out 16. I circled 17, 18, and 19. It says use the expression 1/4 p minus, and then in parentheses 1 minus 1/3 p. Rewrite the expression without the parentheses. Show your work. Okay? Well, let's just go and do it together here. So rewrite it without parentheses. So let's see if we have any like terms. So we have 1/4 p, 1/4 p. I'm going to change it to addition. I'm going to change the signs of the numbers that follow. So this was 1. Now it becomes a -1, minus 1. That was subtraction, becomes addition, 1/3 p. All right. Is there some like terms that I can add together? Sure. 1/4 p plus 1/3 p. So 1/4, I'm not going to worry about the p for the moment, 1/3. I'm adding those together. What's the common denominator? 12 goes into both. 3 goes into 12 4 times 1 is 4. 4 goes into 12 3 times 1 is 3. 3 and 4 is 7. So that's 7/12. When I added the 1/4 p and the 1/3 p. So, and they're both, it's positive, so it's going to be 7/12 p. What's left? Minus 1. And there's the answer. Okay. Not worried about number 20 at the bottom of the page. And that should be it. Just remember to change the sign of the numbers that follow. So this would be a -13 and adding a -17 plus 5n. And then you just combine like terms like we did in the last lesson. All right. Don't forget to do the try it at the bottom of page 241. I want you guys to do that one. Okay. End the video there.